Let's learn how to play seventh chords. Welcome back to the Guitar Files. So in this video I'm going to show you how to play 5 different seventh chords, all based from the same original shape. So firstly, what is a seventh chord? Well, it's a 4-note chord which is built using the root, 3rd, 5th and 7th of a given scale. Okay, so say we're in the key of C major. Our notes of that scale are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then we go back to C. So we can number those degrees from 1 to 7. C is 1, D is 2, E is 3, F is 4, G is 5, A is 6, and B is 7. So if I took the first note, which is C, the 3rd note, which is E, the 5th note, which is G, and the 7th note, which is B, and I played those notes together, I would get a major 7 chord. Okay, and it would sound something like this. So this is one way you could play a C major 7 chord. You start with your root note, which you can do on the 3rd fret of the A string, that's C, and then on the 2nd fret of the D string, that note is E. Then the next 2 strings are G and B, so they're my 5th and my 7th. So I have C, E, G and B. So that's one way that we could play a major 7 chord, but I'm going to show you another way of playing it, which is going to be more of a movable shape. So you're going to be able to shift this into different keys. So it's going to sound and look like this. So this is the same 4 notes, but in a slightly different order. So C major 7. So my root note is on the 3rd fret of the A string, that note is C, and I'm going to do that with my index finger this time. Then on the next string, I'm going to use my ring finger and put it on the 5th fret of that D string. That note is G, so that is the 5th note, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, so I've got root and 5th so far. On the next string, I'm going to use my available middle finger on the 4th fret of the G string. That note is B, so that is the 7th degree. Okay, so far I've got root, 5th, and then 7th. And then with my little finger, I'm going to place that on the 5th fret of the B string. That note is E, so C, D, E, that is my 3rd. So I have C, G, B, and E. So I have root, 5th, 7th, and then 3rd. Play those together, you get a C major 7. But it's what we call a different voicing. So it's the same notes, but they're in a different order. So you get a slightly different result. That's a C major 7 chord. Okay, so that's our first 7th chord that we've learned in this position. So from there, I'm going to show you the next type of 7th chord we're going to learn, which is going to be a dominant 7th chord. So it's going to be very similar. The only thing I'm going to do differently is to flatten the 7th degree. So in that context, in C major, our 7th was B. So if I flatten that by 1 semitone, it becomes a B flat note. Okay, so if I go to this C major 7 shape that we've just learned, so the B is the note being done with the middle finger on that G string 4th fret. So I need to flatten that by 1 fret. So to do this, I'm going to remove my middle finger and then I'm going to bar my index finger so it's laying flat across more than 1 string. So it's going to be laying flat across the 3rd fret and I'm trying to press nice and hard. And then if I play those same 4 strings, I get this. Very different effect, right? So those notes are now C, G, B flat, and then E. Okay? So the difference between a major 7 and a dominant 7th is that you flatten the 7th by 1 semitone. That's the only difference. All the other notes are the same. So in linear order, those notes are C, E, G, and B flat. In this voicing, it's C, which is the root, G, which is the 5th, B flat, which is the flat 7, and then E, which is the 3rd. So that's our first 2 voicings. We've got C major 7, C dominant 7. Now from here, I'm going to show you how to do a C minor 7. So C minor 7, we have two flattened notes. We have the flattened 7th, and we also flatten the 3rd, okay? So, if I go back to that dominant 7th, it's already got that flat 7th in it. Now the top note, which is E, that's the 3rd. So I need to flatten that by one semitone. So I can do that by replacing the little finger with the middle finger on the 4th fret of that B string. And then if I play the 4 notes together, we get that kind of somber, melancholy sound. That is a C minor 7, okay? Like so. So we have so far C major 7, C dominant 7, and then C minor 7. Next one, C minor 7, flat 5. Okay, so we're currently playing a C minor 7. So the 5th is that 5th fret of the D string, sorry. So we're going to need to flatten that to make it a flat 5. So one way I could do it, if I just literally move this finger backwards 1 fret, that's going to give me the minor 7 flat 5 sound. But this is kind of an awkward way to play it, right? So let me show you a bit more of a finger-friendly way. It's like this. So I have my index finger on the 3rd fret of A. Then my ring finger on the 4th fret of the D string. Then my middle finger on the 3rd fret of the G string. And then my little finger on the 4th fret of the B string. So my notes in this shape are root, then it has the flat 5, then the flat 7, and then the flat 3rd. So everything is flattened apart from the root note, which is still C. So now I've got 4 different 7th chords. I have C major 7, C dominant 7th, take the middle finger off and bar, C minor 7, replace the pinky with the middle finger on the B string, and then minor 7 flat 5, like so. So the final one, C diminished 7. Now this one's kind of a bit interesting. So one way we think of this is we're going to have a root, flat 3rd, flat 5th, and then a double flattened 7th. So you're going to lower the original major 7 by 2 frets, okay? That's the formula for a diminished chord. So it's going to sound like this. Pretty tense, right? So it's used quite often to sort of join link chords together with tension and release. So you could have something like... It's a nice linking chord. So C diminished 7. This is how we play it. So this time, my root note, which is C, I'm doing with my middle finger on that A string 3rd fret. Then my ring finger is going to play the 4th fret of the D string. That gives me my flat 5. Then my index finger is going to play the 2nd fret of G. That's my double flattened 7th. So remember the original one, major 7, was this note. It's gone 2 back. And then finally, my little finger is going to play my flat 3rd degree, which is on the 4th fret of the B string. C diminished 7. So we now have 5 different 7th chords that you can practice. So this is them in order. So C major 7, C dominant 7, C minor 7, C minor 7 flat 5, and then C diminished 7. So there's some really interesting effects that those chords create, all right? They're used all the time to create sort of a slightly more sophisticated sound than your standard major chords. Sometimes you want something with a little bit more kind of harmonic depth. And this is what these chords can enable you to do. The other really cool thing about the shapes that I've shown you is that they are all movable shapes. So I could take the major 7, and we said that when my root is here at the 3rd fret, it's C, and then the rest of the voicing is a major 7. But I can move this shape along, and it's going going to become a major 7 but in a different key. So it starts at C. So for example, if I moved 2 frets along, the 5th fret of the A string, that note is D. So if I built the same shape from there, I then get a D major 7. If I moved it up another 2 frets, D, D sharp, E, E major 7. Okay, so the great thing about these shapes is because there are no open strings involved, they're closed shapes, which means you can move them. So if you know your notes on the A string, i.e. your root notes, you're going to be able to play 7 chords in any different key. And this applies to all those 5 shapes that we did. You could do the same thing starting from D. And all of a sudden, you will unlock a hell of a lot of chords. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to firstly just practice these shapes in the first position. And just get used to the sound of each one. It's going to take a while to sort of internalize and understand the movements between them, okay? But hopefully this video you can keep referring back to understand that. I've also going to link you to my Patreon page, which has a worksheet of these different chords, which for a very small fee you can subscribe to, and you can have access to these different shapes as well. So it's been the first lesson in a little while, but I'm so happy to be back. Happy practicing. As always, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment below, and I'll see you very soon. Take care, guys.